afternoon. My name is Jeremy Greco, and I'm here with your Kansas City Royals playoff odds. This afternoon, the Royals beat the Tigers 3-2 and raised their record to 63-50. They have lowered their magic number to 49 under 50 for the first time this season. The Twins, Orioles, Red Sox all seem likely to win, which means their number will not go down any further today. According to Baseball Reference, their playoff odds are 76.3 to make the postseason. According to Fangraphs, their playoff odds are 64.1% to make the postseason. And according to Baseball Prospectus, their playoff odds are 54.2 to make the postseason. And now, back to your regularly scheduled Royals recap, or whatever the heck it is we're doing here.
Welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast, presented by Royals Review. My name is Jacob Milham, joined as always by Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, you kind of been slapping your face there a little bit. You gotta wake up. You kind of passed out there. You blacked out. I don't know what was going on there. You just started talking and I let it happen.
That was weird.
It was a little strange. You might want to go see a doctor about that, because talking in your sleep is no joke. Trust me, I've said some out-of-pocket things to Katie in my sleep, and I don't even remember them, but she's always mad at me for days afterwards. But we're not here to talk about marital things or medical diagnoses. We're here to talk about Kansas City Royals baseball. But first, if you want to stay up to date on all things Kansas City Royals, go check out RoyalsReview.com. Game threads, thanks to Jeremy Greco. Game recaps, thanks to Jacob Milham. And everything in between is over on RoyalsReview.com. All right, Jeremy. We are coming to the airwaves just minutes after the last pitch in the Kansas City Royals win today on Sunday, as you talked about. And overall, great win, a good way to rinse out the sour taste that the Saturday night game left in our mouths. But let's look at the big picture. You wrote this week about zooming out and looking at the grand scheme of things. Royals get another series win. All right, this is their best road trip this season.
6-1.
6-1.
I don't care how bad your competition is. 6-1 road trip is an excellent road trip.
It is.
I know I saw some people, and this goes back to what you were just talking about with what I wrote. I saw some people saying that today's game was a must-win after last night's loss. I'm sorry, 5-2 road trip, again, no matter your competition, pretty good road trip. Today, winning this game is great. It's huge. Lowers their magic number, gets them one step closer to the postseason, prevents the Red Sox from catching up to them, as the Red Sox seem likely to win today. As we're sitting here, they're up 6-2 right now. But this is like, I find it important. I don't want to tell people how to be a fan. I find it important to keep a perspective. And I understand why today's game would feel like a must win after the loss last night. In the grand scheme of things, it's not. It wasn't. It
Correct.
Couldn't be.
It was, maybe they're getting us confused with the Detroit Tigers, because coming into this series, the Tigers still had a long shot at the playoffs. Okay,
yeah, people were writing, they're still dark horse candidates for a postseason run.
Well, and then after, let's say they would have won 3 out of 4 against the Royals, they would still be in the thick of it. Now, the Royals single-handedly basically pushed them out of the playoff picture altogether, despite a very, very tight AL race and AL Central race. Even right now, the Detroit Tigers now sitting at 53-49. But Jeremy, something else I didn't realize is this is kind of becoming the normal for the Royals. I didn't realize this was their 7th series win over the Tigers in the last 10 years. Even when the Royals are bad, they've been handling the Tigers, I guess.
7th series win over the last 10 years. You mean series win?
7th season series win.
I was like, if they've only won 7 series against them in the last 10 years, that's not good. I don't know what you're saying right now.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad. But no, the other way around. It's good. Listen, you can go listen to the Royals recap if you want more of my instant reaction to Saturday night's game, which I do want to move on from. We have to talk about it, but I don't want to dwell too much on it, because at the end of the day, that was their first walk-off loss since April 3rd. Okay? This is not the norm for the Royals. So maybe we don't know how to cope. Maybe we don't know how to deal or process with it.
So that's the other side of kind of what I was writing over the weekend, is that I do think as Royals fans, we were a little bit spoiled by the 2014 and 2015 teams, because from the second half of 2014 to the end of 2015, they were the best. Maybe I've already talked about this. I don't remember. I'm going to say it again. Because
say it again.
They were maybe the best team in baseball for a year and a half. And outside of that year and a half, they've not been good until the season, at least in our lifetimes.
Correct.
Oh, to sit here and be like, oh, there's like, if you sit here and you look at this team and you go, they're bad. No, they're just not the best. They're not the 2015 Royals. They're still a good team. Good teams have flaws. People said Red Sox lost last night, and I was like, listen, that's a good thing. The Red Sox lost. That means their magic number went down. This was still a positive day for the Kansas City Royals. And everyone's like, well, they need to make up ground. No, they only got to beat them by one game. They only got to beat them by half a game, y'all. That's it. They don't got to beat them by 10 games. They don't have to.
Nope.
So as long as they're progressing, every day that they're still in a playoff position is still a good day. And I saw some stats this morning, and I don't remember what they were right now, but I'm pretty sure it was Royal reporter Kev who was doing the writing about him. So go check him out on Twitter. He's a great follow, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
He was writing that the Royals are basically middle of the road as far as bullpen goes. They do not have the worst bullpen in baseball. I know a lot of people feel like they do. They don't. I promise. The numbers don't lie. They had a really bad night Saturday night. Oh, it was so bad.
Oh, man.
So bad. But it was one night, okay? They're going to have other bad nights because they're an average bullpen. This is not HDH. HDH is not walking through that door, okay? We got it. But nobody has HDH, okay? Even the best team doesn't have HDH. That was just a freak of nature coincidence that we may never see again. That may have been a once-in-a-lifetime bullpen. So you can't compare every bullpen the Royals have from now until the end of time to that bullpen, because it's not going to measure up.
Nope, it's not. They were abundantly clear heading into 2024. This is a matchup-based bullpen, all right? This isn't – I'm sorry, when you have HDH, you had three guys that no matter the matchup, no matter what the opposition was throwing at you, they had the edge. That's why you could go 7, 8, 9.
Beyond those three – they filled their bullpen with guys who were above average. Franklin Morales, I think, was the worst reliever in the 2015 bullpen, and he was fine.
Yep, exactly. Hey, listen, since we're already talking about the bullpen, I do think that we have to touch on James McArthur in a little bit more detail. I get it. He wasn't the only culprit in Saturday's loss. Matt Harvey blew a save. Chris Bubich technically blew a save. I put an asterisk on it because
it's an unearned run.
And it was an unearned run, but still a blown save. But James McArthur comes in and he is the losing pitcher. So a lot of the weight is going to fall upon him. The fact of the matter is the guy has not had a good since June, I think was his last good month. July and August have been absolutely brutal. And Royals fans are tired of it. Okay. I'm not going to subscribe to the sect of Royals fans that says DFA and move along. There's got to be someone better than him.
That would be.
Exactly. It would, at best, it would be malpractice in roster management, in my opinion. But I ain't going to say you shouldn't DFA or option him. He does have an option remaining.
I don't know if you need to option him. You cannot put him in high leverage situations right now.
Agreed.
You cannot. And so what that means, and we need to talk about these trade acquisitions.
Yes, we'll talk about them later on the show.
But what that means right now is that James McArthur is in the same place that Chris Stratton and Will Smith are.
Yeah.
Where you primarily are going to pitch him when you're down big or you're up big, and you only pitch him when it's close if you've got no one else. Now, here's what I'm going to say about last night.
Okay.
They didn't have anyone else. You had Angel Zerpa. You could argue, should Angel Zerpa be in there? But Angel Zerpa's had his struggles too.
He has.
Okay. And if they went with Angel Zerpa, I would have said, all right. But they went with James McArthur. And I was like, all right. You know what McArthur has over Zerpa? Closing experience. That matters. Okay. what they had done was they used Sam Long for an inning and a third when it was close. I think it was tied when Sam Long came in. So you needed a leverage guy for that.
You did. Yep.
And then they used Urseg. And
Yep.
I probably, if it was up to me, I would have used Harvey first. We're going to talk about this more in a minute. I would have used Harvey first. Urseg would have been the closer.
Okay.
And then I thought Chris Bubich in the 10th was smart. Chris Bubich has been pitching really well.
Yeah.
You don't want Harvey to necessarily go 2 innings. You've used all of your quote unquote, these are our high leverage guys. And so you're like, all right, Bubich has been moving more and more high leverage. Let's see what happens if we let him close. He almost had it.
He almost
had it. And then you said, all right, well, now what do we do? And people were like, Urseg could have a 2-inning save. Bubich could have a 2-inning save. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. Hindsight's 2020 isn't that nice.
Yep. It's none of us were there in the dugout having to make that call.
And we also don't know that Zerpa was available. He has not pitched the last couple of games. So he could be dealing with a little something, a little day-to-day something that they just haven't talked about, because you don't talk about day-to-day stuff in your bullpen because you don't want the other team to know that you don't got a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been used sparingly. Okay. He was used on August 2nd, but then also only once in the White Sox series, and then on the 28th in the Cubs series. Like, that's his last 3 games. Was he used in all
of the Tiger series?
Yeah, he was used on August 2nd.
Okay.
He pitched an inning, no hits, no strikeouts, and a walk. So, maybe there is something underlying going on. Bumps and bruises later on in the season, it's going to happen. You have to manage your roster and their workload, okay? And at the end of the day, they had to approach Saturday's extra innings affair knowing we have to come back tomorrow morning and be ready for the series finale. We still have to have something.
And here's the other thing about Urseg working a 2-inning save, and he's pitched multiple innings before this year.
Yes.
That was his second day in a row. So are you going to ask a guy? And I know he only pitched 1 batter in Friday night's game.
But still,
the act of getting hot as a reliever is generally considered he's burned no matter how many outs, no matter how many pitches he throws.
Yep.
And so he got hot. He got the 1 out. And then they said, all right, pull him back. We're going to have him for tomorrow, because the game got out of hand at that point. Royals blew it open. And then they had him for the next day. So now he's pitched 2 days in a row, and you're going to ask him to come back and pitch a second inning like that's not an ideal.
It's not. And we're going to talk about the trade acquisitions more individually in detail. I liked going to Harvey in the 9th inning today. I thought
I wasn't a fan of it, but I don't know that there was a better option.
I don't know if there was a better option. Truth be, I got nervous when I saw him. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go down this road again. But the fact of the matter is, players aren't going to be able to prove us wrong or prove the coaches right unless they get the opportunities to do so. Okay, if the results would have gone the opposite way, if Harvey gave up another 2 runs in his outing, this would be a completely different conversation about Matt Harvey. But
Hunter Harvey.
I said Matt.
If we're talking about Matt Harvey, that really is a different conversation.
Oh my gosh. So many Harveys. I'm going to say Harvey Dent next time.
So many Hunters.
There's a lot of Hunters. We should have gotten Hunter Strickland just for the vibes. Hunter and Hunter sound like a law firm or something. But no, thank you for the correction on that.
I only noticed you did it because I have been this close to doing that so many times.
I will absolutely take my lumps as they come. Thank you very much. It's the bullpen hasn't been great, but it is okay. It is better than it was earlier on this year. Okay, when you go out and you trade for 2 guys who have strikeout stuff, while let's be honest, Will Smith hasn't looked bad the past couple of months. All right.
Yeah, but do you really want to see him in a high leverage situation?
No, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is he is developed back into a reliable setup role. I'm not going to balk at the idea of Will Smith coming out in a 1-run game in the 6th inning or something like that. I'm not going to be mad or nervous about that. You would ask me that about 3 months ago, that would be a very different story. That's what I'm getting at. So, Jeremy, this was... do we need to talk about the bats? Because I talked about it in my game recap. Only 2 hits through the first 5 innings was frustrating plenty of Royals fans. If you look at the final box score, it looks fine. But what do you think about these bats?
So there's 2 ways to look at this game, I think. The first way is, and I think this is how a lot of people are looking at it, and I don't think either way is wrong. So let me be clear about that up front.
Yeah.
When I say there's 2 ways, I think there's 2 legitimate ways to look at this, and probably a mix of both is where you're at. So the first way I think everyone is looking at is 2 relievers and a guy getting his first major league taste. What the heck are we doing out here?
Yeah.
Tigers bullpen has been bad. Why can we not get any hits against these guys? And honestly, that Garcia leadoff double followed by 2 pop outs from Bobby Witt and Vinny Pasquantino, extremely painful. Yeah. I knew right then and there that it was going to be a long day. Okay, and we could talk about all the right-handers that come in for the Royals when they face a left-handed pitcher are just bad. But that's Bobby and Vinny, okay? They're the ones who are supposed to come through, and they did not in that moment. And that's when I knew things were not going to be great. So you can look at it that way of like, man, the Tigers have 2 starting pitchers, and they didn't really know what they were doing today, and the Royals still couldn't find any offense. Until Shelby Miller, love you, Shelby Miller, pitch for Detroit forever, okay?
Yes,
until please. He came in the 9th. The other thing is that the Royals didn't know who the heck was going to be pitching. How do you prepare when you don't know who's going to be pitching? And you're like, all right, we think they called up this lefty and he's going to be, and you brought in a second right-handed relief. What is happening? Like, the Royals were totally, and you can say, well, you should be prepared for whatever pitcher. Sure, okay, you try and get prepared for 13, 15, 20, because who are they going to promote? Yeah. Major league quality pitchers, all right? That's a big ask. And so I think this was a little bit of Bobby having a mini slump right now. He didn't have a hit yesterday. He had, 1 or 2 hits today, plus the error. The pop-ups and the strikeouts were happening, so he's having a little bit of a mini slump. Let's not panic about it. It's 2 games, for goodness sakes. But after the incredibly hot July, I did actually run some numbers. It was interesting to me that Bobby Witt Jr.'s worst month this year was July, when he still had June, when he still had a perfectly fine 133 WRC plus, but that was also the Royals' only losing month this year, was Bobby's worst month. So they need Bobby Witt Jr. to win. Basically, is what I'm reading into that. But so that those are kind of the 2 things to look at: is the Tigers have no idea what they're doing. Why can't you hit them? And then, but also the Royals have no way of knowing who to prepare to try to hit in that situation.
Yeah, the chaos is going to go either way. You know, when it goes your way, you look really smart in the Detroit Tigers dugout. But on the other hand, when it doesn't go your way, they look really dumb. Like if the reliever would have gone out there and give up a 3-run first inning, that would have been a bad black eye.
And I do wonder how much of that was AJ Hinch playing the Royals a little bit. He's like, all right, I got this lefty called up. Lefties are bulk, man. Lefty. So Matt Quatrero comes out and he says, all right, boom, fill the lineup with righties. We're ready. And then he says, all right, let me give you another righty.
Give you 2 righties.
Can I get you to pinch hit all your lefties in, and then I'll bring in the lefty? And Q held. He held. Good job on Q to hold. Not that it helped. You know, it was a
what I mean. He pinch hit all 4 of his lefties, right? In the bottom of the 9th
inning, yeah.
It did pay off. It did with the MJ Melendez home run.
And the Adam Frazier pinch hit didn't help anybody.
No, it didn't.
But the Melendez one certainly did.
Yes.
But I still don't believe in MJ Melendez. I still think he sucks. Just want to throw that out there.
He is now 1 for 12 in pinch hit opportunities with 1 home run.
Every time I think, yes, MJ Melendez, he's for real now. He sucks again. So I don't believe that anymore.
There you go. All right, hey, let's go and talk about these trade acquisitions. I've messed up that word twice now, Jeremy. Okay,
you would not make a good Ferengi.
No, I would not,
because they have to follow the rules of acquisition.
Let's talk about these trade acquisitions. First up, I do want to talk about Paul DeYoung, because he was kind of the hero early on in the game. on Saturday with that home run, his first homer as a Royal. Are we just assuming that he's the starting third baseman now? Is that what we're doing?
They were looking at a lot of lefties this weekend.
Okay.
And so that's where that kind of came from, is Michael Massey's not going to play. So he's platooning with Massey, basically, which I think is fine. Just to kind of quick go over the numbers. This is the tiniest of sample sizes, 3 games, plus the 3 strikeouts today. So the hat trick there. But before today, he had, one walk, a 167 WRC plus in 3 games, a 0.3 FWAR. So, already more productive for the Royals today than he was for the Blue Jays or the Giants last year.
Absolutely.
So I that was a trade. And again, that was a trade acquisition where the Royals didn't give anybody up. Anybody, did you know Rosado before? No. Nope. Nobody knew who Rosado was. Not a real prospect. Not a guy that we should lose any sleep over. Even if he turns into something, not a guy we should lose any sleep over losing. Nope. And got Paul DeJong to basically come in and do what he did yesterday. Hit some dingers.
Yep. He's a powerful
third
bat.
on the team in home runs. You got Bobby and Salvi have 20, and you got Paul DeJong has 9.
He didn't even have to take an AB for the Royals. It was already third on the team.
Exactly.
It's wow.
He's not. The thing about Paul DeJong is he's not the bat we wanted. He's not going to be a consistent guy who's going to get on base, but he does bring a little bit of pop off the bench, which is something the Royals have lacked. A little bit of a threat of like, hey, you want to remember? Okay, this is a good example, right? When the Royals brought in Sam Long to face Pete Crow Armstrong, and the Cubs countered with Patrick Wisdom and said, we got a guy. He's not good, but he can hit a dinger.
He could put one over the fence.
You brought in a lefty, and I can counter with a righty who can hit a dinger. That's what that's what DeJong is. He's our Patrick Wisdom for that situation.
I think that's a great point.
It's a valuable tool.
It is. It really is. So what are you thinking? Because I'm thinking that if they're comfortable putting Massey at second base, then Garcia is just going to shift back over to third, and then DeJong will go to the bench. But if Massey he's having a rest day, or if he's DH even, DeJong goes to third base, and then Garcia goes to second.
And Adam Frazier basically doesn't play.
So much.
That kind of brings us just real quick. I want to mention a lot of people mad about Hunter Renfroe's defense last night. I'm sorry. Hunter Renfroe is who Hunter Renfroe is. They do not have a better right field option on this roster.
Nope.
Dairon Blanco does not play right field. Kyle Isbell does not play right field. Garrett Hampson does not. If you said we got to put the glove on you and you got to go out there, they do it. But they're not going to be any better than Hunter Renfroe because they're not used to watching the ball come that way. Hunter Renfroe is slow, but he puts maximum effort in and he knows what he's doing out there. Okay. So they do not have a better right field option. So if you're not going to play Adam Frazier, and you shouldn't play Adam Frazier, you look like you're not going to play Adam Frazier, would we like to see Tyler Gentry, who can play some right field, has a little bit more legs out there?
That would be nice.
That'd be nice. Saying. Just an option. Anyway, let's move
on. No, it is. That's an excellent point. And at the end of the day, Renfroe's lack of speed and sometimes jump is balanced out by an elite arm. Okay. It really is. It is okay to be an average value defender. Okay. You don't have to have an Alex Gordon left and a Kyle Isbell in center every time. Okay. You don't have to have elite defenders.
This is the kind of thing that we have for decades made fun of Yankees fans for. They win 100 games and complain about the center fielder's defense or something, like you have one flaw. Why do you, and then they just harp and harp and harp. And it's like, listen, the Royals aren't perfect, but you can still think that they're good and not like the ceiling is falling or the sky is falling every time one of their flaws gets exposed. Hunter Renfroe in right field, not good, but he's not going to get exposed every single time he's in right field. And honestly, if the pitchers had been throwing better pitches that weren't line drives to the wall, you wouldn't care about Hunter Renfroe's defense right now.
Yeah, man, that was...
You're basically looking for elite right field defense there is what you're asking for. And I'm sorry, Lorenzo Cain, Gerard Dyson are not here.
They're not walking through the door.
No.
Sorry. We're not... This isn't a time machine. All right? John Sherman isn't shelling out that money for a time machine to go back and snag Lorenzo Cain and Gerard Dyson and swap them out. It's not happening. All right, so that's Paul DeYoung. I would, if I had
a lot of Hunter Renfroe thrown in.
Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, that was my fault.
No, it happens to the best of us. So let's say I'm going to give it an incomplete on Paul DeYoung. Like, I think he's
on the process. I give it a B+.
Okay.
On the process of it.
All right. Let's go ahead and pivot over to Lucas Erceg, who has like quickly become the favorite reliever for Royals fans. Like, no matter what.
Have you watched him pitch? There's good reason for that.
Yes, there absolutely is, and he does deserve to be everyone's favorite pitcher. How many innings has he actually pitched for the Royals so far? 2 1/3. Yeah, look at you. 2 1/3, hasn't allowed a single run, no hits, struck out 3 in that span, and only has thrown 26 pitches in a Royals uniform.
Has he walked anybody?
Has he walked anybody? No. Hasn't walked anybody.
No base runners.
No base runners.
That's a good start.
Yeah, I think that's solid. Okay, I think that's really good for the trade package. I'm sure Will Klein would do better. Okay, I'm sure.
Did you see Walter Pennington made his Rangers debut today?
Oh, I didn't see that. Good for him.
Gave up a home run and walked 3 straight batters. Maybe the Royals knew what they were doing. I don't know.
No, Walter, no.
Listen, you can't judge a player by one game, but that trade, it looks like the Royals may have robbed the Rangers again. Well, speaking of who they traded Walter Pennington. Oh, you were talking about Erceg. I'm sorry. We'll go back to that for a second. Sorry.
God, you're killing me. But like that just goes to show trade your relievers when you can, because they become very volatile. It was kind of the game we were playing with Carlos Hernandez last year. Do you trade him? Do you not? And then
I begged them to trade him. I begged.
Well, lo and behold, he's still stuck in Omaha right now. They should have traded him. But Erceg, man, he has been everything advertised and more. The stuff is electric. The mound presence is great. I need to go back and look at the numbers, but I do think the 2 full innings he pitched in the most leverage spots. Like
the first inning was a low leverage spot. The third inning and then the last inning were high leverage.
Gotcha. Okay.
They let him work his way in. It was his first day with the Royals. They had a big lead, and they said, "Just go ahead and go out there, show us your stuff."
There you go. Okay, so I stand corrected. I'm liking it so far. I don't want them to change anything. I don't want him to change anything. I would love to see him get more high leverage options. I don't care if it's the bottom of the 9th inning. I really don't, because I want my best reliever against the best opposing bat.
I want, when my best reliever is done pitching, the game is over. That I know that your opinion is out there, and a lot of people share that, and it's a legitimate opinion. But for me, when I don't want to say, "Oh, my best reliever's done, and we've still got game to play," what's going to happen?
Okay, fair enough. I mean, absolutely fair. Because at the end of the day, I would prefer to have Erceg face off against the 3, 4, 5 hitters, and then Sam Long face off against the 6, 7, 8, rather than vice versa. In that very niche scenario. But what grade are you giving Erceg so far? I'm giving it an A. Hands down.
Listen, Lucas Erceg has been fantastic.
Yes.
In his 2 1/3 innings. Yes. Again, we are judging based on process, and we are judging based on these early results. And I don't think they could have gone any better. So we're going to give it an A for now.
Yep. 4 now.
His first grade is an A. We'll see what his next grade is, but his first grade is an A.
It changes often. Hey, so you were talking about Walter Pennington. The guy that the Royals got in exchange for Walter Pennington was a rental of Michael Lorenzen, who made his Royals debut the other day against the Detroit Tigers on August 3rd. His line that night, 5 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. looked every bit of a solid number 5 guy. I loved it.
Is that what you saw? That's not what I saw.
What'd you see?
All right, so let me set the stage a little bit for you. I hated this trade. Made me sad. Walter Pennington, my guy, for Michael Lorenzen, it was just, his numbers are ugly, man. They are ugly. Okay? And then Michael Lorenzen walks onto that field Saturday and he says, I'm going to throw my changeup. What are you going to do about it? And the Detroit Tigers said, I have no idea. I'm a swing and miss. He got how many swings did he get on that thing? I wrote this in the recap yesterday. You got those numbers?
I'm about to look it up. Keep talking.
Right. He had like a 45% called swing plus whiff rate. That is elite. But by the way, they didn't take a single strike on that changeup. All of that was swinging strikes.
Yes.
Almost every time they swung at that changeup, they missed it. I think so. If I'm remembering correctly, before you put this, let me see if I still got this. 20 changeups, 11 swings, and whiffs.
Yep. What's that percentage, Jeremy? Do you remember?
45%.
Nope, it's 82% swing whiffs because he got 9 whiffs on 11
whiffs
swings.
On the swings.
Yes.
But on the 45% of the pitches were swung at and missed.
Correct. Yeah.
That is crazy good. That's the changeup. If the Royals can do something with his slider, which is what the Royals pitching staff does, baby. They say, you got a slider? Let's make it better. You don't got a slider? Let's give you one. That's what they do. Yes. So if they fix the slider to go with that change, and that changeup was working against righties too. That's a crazy thing, is that most guys who throw a changeup throw it to opposite-handed hitters only. You do not throw that to the same-handed hitter because that changeup comes back into him and he bashes it.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Lorenzen was throwing that to same-handed hitters, and they were going whoosh,
whoosh. Getting a good breeze off.
They couldn't hit it either.
Can you say that again, Jeremy? My dog is alerting to the whiff.
Whoosh, whiff, whiff. The righties couldn't do anything.
No, they couldn't. No, they couldn't. Yeah, it is. And he has another very broad pitch selection.
I am so excited. I completely flipped on Michael Lorenzen even before Pennington's debut today. I am excited to watch him pitch again because that changeup was so good. I cannot explain to you watching live how good that changeup was.
Oh yeah.
Like if you didn't see it, you can't understand it. Go to my game recap from Saturday night. I linked a tweet from the pitching ninja. He had Michael Lorenzen striking out the side with that changeup. Okay, go watch it. So good.
Yes, it is so good. Go watch those. Go watch those highlights on MLB.com's video page. You can go look them all up. It's so. What grade are we giving this? Let's not factor in Pennington's outing for the Rangers. Okay,
just based on Lorenzen,
and
the fact that they needed those innings.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I didn't believe in him taking Alec Marsh's spot so easily, but this is why. This is why the Royals believe in it.
I wonder if Michael Wacha is about to reveal some sort of injury. He's been really struggling to get swings and misses, and I don't know if it'll be like a fake, he's hurt, or if it'll be no, he has been hurt. We've just been making him pitch anyway, and Alec Marsh will come right back. Alec Marsh, by the way, had a start today, struck out 4 in 3 hitless innings.
Yeah,
so.
He is still there following the plan. He's still stretched out as a starter in Omaha. Okay,
this is not a demotion. This was never, and I hope that he understands this. This was never a demotion of you suck or you're not good enough. This was a demotion of listen, you guys have everybody in this rotation is hitting the most innings they've ever thrown in their life.
Yeah.
So we've got to tone that down somehow, or we risk everybody falling apart at the same time.
Correct. Okay, so we've talked about Lorenzen, we've talked about DeYoung, and we've talked about Urseg. Now is the guy that we've been avoiding talking about, the man who I so eloquently call Matt, but his real name is Hunter Harvey. He's been
a little like Matt Harvey. The way he pitched.
Yeah, I can squint and see it. He definitely looks like late career Matt Harvey. Yeah, it is. He's been with the Royals the longest out of all those trade acquisitions. And like today was really his first good impression that he had on the Royals. What?
I'm gonna disagree with that.
What?
For a couple ways.
What was his other good?
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't call this one a good outing. Okay. Because he hung a splitter and gave up a line drive. The fact that he went directly to the third baseman, who then threw to first for the double play because the guy on first was living in La La Land, does not indicate Hunter Harvey pitched well. It indicates that the Tigers are bad and unlucky.
Well, no, I'm bad in the game recap because I said that Bobby Witt Jr. caught that line drive when it was actually Adam Frazier.
Yeah, so actually, I would say that Hunter Harvey's first and only really good outing so far. Well, okay, so there was the Cubs outing where he had 2/3 of an inning. Oh, no, wait, that was the one where he walked 2. There was the Arizona outing where he gave up a walk, didn't strike anybody out, and it was scoreless. That's fine. Actually, his one really good outing was against the White Sox
which we
on the 30th when he gave up 1 run, but it was on 2 very weak hit balls, and he also struck out 2 guys, and his splitter was phenomenal. And this is what I'm going to tell you about Hunter Harvey right now.
Okay.
Hunter Harvey splitter yesterday, today. That's he's got his fastball and he's got his splitter. He's also got a slider and curve, but he doesn't use them much. So he's a fastball splitter guy.
Yeah.
Splitter not working. Not yesterday, not today. He threw 1 splitter today, gave up a line drive because he hung it again, and was very lucky to get out of that game. So here's the good news, bad news of this. The bad news is he's a fastball splitter guy and his splitter is not working. Good news. Splitter starts working, gonna be fine. And I think that they'll figure that out. That's actually where I am with James McArthur too, not to completely derail us, but James McArthur, I think his problems right now are mechanical, and they are that his breaking stuff isn't working. And I think that if he's allowed to pitch in some low leverage innings, whether that's with the big league team in blowouts or with AAA Omaha, he will eventually be able to figure that out. He needs to be getting regular appearances, and they need to be low leverage. So maybe Omaha would make more sense. Just to make sure that he has those opportunities. That's both of these guys, Hunter Harvey and James McArthur, are going to be okay. They're going to pitch well soon. They're not pitching well right now. So let's not give them a high leverage innings right now. But they're going to be okay. Like, we're not cutting them. Let's just let's find a way to get them fixed.
Yes. Let's focus on the process, not on the results right now. I do, even knowing that though, feel bad giving Harvey anything higher than a C- on his Royals tenure so far.
I would give him a C.
You give him a C?
They gave up a lot to get him.
They did.
And as far as Caden Wallace and the competitive balance pick.
Yeah.
So when you give up that much, you want a guy that you don't have to fix, and they have to fix him. Okay. Well, it's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal either. So you absolutely can't give it more than a C. But I do think that like the process made sense. I also think that the Royals sold high on Caden Wallace. I don't think he's going to be good, and I don't miss that draft pick. I think the Royals had a great draft even without it. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not the only one. A lot of people who actually pay attention to drafts and draft prospects think the Royals had a really good draft.
Yep.
So I don't hate that trade at all. And I do think that in the end, it's going to be successful. I just think, it does look a little rough right now. Please stop asking him to close games.
Agreed. All right. Let's, you said that you want to talk about the Boston series, but
we got to.
Before we do, should we rank the relievers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we look at this bullpen?
I think this is important. So let's rank them. I think in terms of what leverage situation. Let's do buckets. Okay. Let's do buckets.
What are our buckets?
Let's do leverage. So 8th or 9th inning, tie game, 1 run. Within 1 run. 8th or 9th inning within 1 run. Let's do medium leverage. 7th inning or earlier in a close game, 8th inning or 9th inning with at least 3 runs difference. And then low leverage, everything else. Okay.
So here I'm pulling up the roster just to make sure we don't forget anybody, because that would be my luck to where it's like, oh, Arnel Zerpa, forgot about him. Our bucket's overflowing. All right, I want you to start, Jeremy. I want you, who is a name and what bucket are you putting them in?
All right. James MacArthur, low leverage bucket.
Okay. I cannot disagree with that at all. I'm going to go with Chris Bubich.
Okay.
I'm putting him in the high leverage bucket. I am.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yep. Who you got next, Jeremy?
I'm going to go Angel Zerpa. I'm going to say medium leverage bucket.
Ooh, okay. That might be a little contentious. Any reason why you're putting him in the medium leverage?
He has been really good at times this year. He's also really struggled for stretches, and I think they have enough guys to put in the high leverage bucket, or that they will be able to put. I mean, I don't think being in the medium leverage bucket isn't a punishment. It isn't a bad thing. It's just listen, somebody's got to be the Herrera of the group, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pitch the seventh inning's got to be somebody's inning. And I think I would rather Zerpa had that and leave you with other guys to pitch the 8th and 9th.
Okay. I like that. All right. So that is Bubich, Zerpa, MacArthur. I'll go with Will Smith. I got to keep him in the low leverage for right now. He's just about there to put it back in the medium leverage.
Yeah, that's what it's basically what I was thinking.
Yeah, I just don't trust
you
him
really
yet.
Mostly low leverage, but if he has to pitch a medium leverage, which he's done a couple of times, fine, okay.
Who you got next?
I don't go, well, that was an awful choice. I go, well, your hand was forced a little bit, but we'll make do.
Exactly.
Chris Stratton.
Yeah.
Small pick next. Same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Chris Stratton has had such a weird year. Where he's been, like, when he's been bad, he's been so bad. But mostly he's been okay. But because he's been so bad when he's been bad, everyone thinks of him as being bad. So again, somebody's got to pitch the low leverage innings. Actually, he pitched kind of a high leverage inning today. Medium to high leverage of the 8th inning in a 2-run deficit. It's as close as you can get to high leverage without being high leverage. Yeah, he was fine. So low leverage again, but also a guy that if he has to pitch in a medium leverage situation, I'm not mad about it.
Agreed. All right, so I am now looking at Sam Long. And I got to keep him in the medium leverage. I get it. The results have been there. He got like roughed up in like one game really bad this year. I'm pulling up his game logs to make sure I'm not too far off. He's allowed 2 earned runs twice in his Royals career so far.
That's the worst he's done.
Yeah, that's the worst he's done.
And you won't give him high leverage.
I won't give him high leverage because he's been doing so well in the low to medium leverage spots.
So for me, in an ideal world, he'd be medium leverage. But this is not an ideal world. He's high leverage for me. Okay. With the caveat, I don't want him playing fireman. I want him getting a clean inning.
I can definitely agree with that. I'm not going to put him into a game with 1 out, bases loaded.
That's not the proper way to use Sam Long. No. I understand why you might be tempted to do that if you're Matt Quatrero and you're facing the Cubs, for example. But Sam Long should get a fresh inning whenever possible.
Absolutely. He's no Colin Snyder. Okay, he's no Colin Snyder. He's not the fireman out there.
All right, so that leaves us with Lucas Erceg and Hunter Harvey.
Yeah.
I'll leave you the easy one. Hunter Harvey. Medium leverage.
Good.
That's where I'm putting
choice.
I think his fastball still plays well enough that he can pitch you a tight 7th inning or a loose 8th inning. And I do believe that he's going to be back in high leverage before the season ends. I don't know if MacArthur can make it all the way back to high leverage by the end of the season. I do think MacArthur can make it to medium leverage again. But Hunter Harvey right now, do not close. Do not ask him to close.
No.
He was setting up. He was doing fine. Let's let him set up, and we'll use, I think, well, that leaves you with Lucas Erceg. Where does he belong, Jacob?
High leverage. No question about it. Performance is there.
So,
you don't trade that much capital for a setup, man.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And so for me, where that kind of leaves me is Erceg. If it's my bullpen, here's how I'm setting it up.
Okay.
Erceg's my closer.
Okay.
Long and Harvey are my 8th inning guys.
Okay.
Depending on matchups.
Yeah.
And Long is my backup closer. So if Erceg can't go for any reason, Long is my closer.
Yeah.
And then 7th inning, you've got Zerpa, you've got Harvey preferably, and you've got Stratton, I guess. And then you've got Zerpa. Yep. Did I say Zerpa already?
You did.
Okay.
This bullpen has so many damn lefties, man.
I'm losing the thread here. So, but then and then you've got MacArthur and Long not Long, Smith are mop-up guys right now.
Yeah. So
and Bubic. Bubic is all. I forgot about Bubic. How could I forget about Bubic?
You of all people.
So he's also an 8th inning option, and he's probably my 3rd string closer, still ahead of Harvey. That's how I would do that.
Okay. All right, Jeremy. I have a question to posit to you. So there's a reliever right now. I'm going to read off some 2024 statistics because I think that they might be able to help the Royals bullpen. 24 1/3 innings pitched, a good amount of work. The K to walk rate is not there. 17.6% strikeout rate, but 13.7% walk rate. Yeah. But not allowed a single home run all year. Their barrel rate is top 10 in the league. And so their ERA.
So they don't give up barrels, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, okay. It is the lowest.
Right, okay. Just making sure I understood that.
So their ERA is 3.7 and their FIP is 3.54, despite the strikeout to walk numbers because of those other peripheries.
Say those numbers again.
17.6% strikeout rate.
No, I'm sorry, the ERA and the FIP.
ERA 3.7, FIP 3.45 or 54, excuse me. Would you take a righty like that to help round out this bullpen right now?
So the question becomes not, is that a viable reliever? Those numbers sound like somebody you can probably work with. The question becomes, who are you replacing?
Okay. Fair.
Okay. And so if you're ready to demote MacArthur, not DFA him, but demote him, then that is the only spot I think that those numbers make sense.
Okay.
I don't think it makes sense to cut Will Smith or Chris Stratton for those numbers. I and everybody else, Zerpa, Erceg, Harvey, Bubic, Long are not leaving this bullpen right now. Not for those numbers, at least.
No, certainly not.
Who is this?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's Josh Stalmont, who just became a free agent today. No, you're not doing it?
No. The Royals have already shown they can't help him. And so when you're getting those numbers, what I'm hoping is that the Royals can find a way to help him. The Royals have already shown they can't help Stalmont.
Oh, well, you know what? You know what the Twins did to help him, actually?
What's that?
They gave him a slider.
Well, and it didn't help him that much because they cut him.
Yes, they did. Overall, 28.6% called strike and whiff rate would be amongst the best in this bullpen. Swing strike rate is above average in bullpen.
Let me expand a little bit. I would not do that. If the Royals, again, the only move that makes sense to me is to demote MacArthur, drop somebody else off the 40-man, not sure who, and then put Stalmont in. Or maybe you drop Frazier. Well, Gentry's already on the 40-man, so you can demote MacArthur, Frazier, promote sign Stalmont. Wouldn't do it, but if the Royals did do it, I wouldn't hate it.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's the numbers aren't great enough for me to advocate. Go get this guy. Go get him no matter what. Add him to the 40-man. Have him be ready in Omaha. Especially I'm sorry, when I go and look at Omaha, who had a 24 inning scoreless streak from the pitchers.
Right.
Yes. On the good side of a scoreless streak from like Friday to the 5th inning of today. There are good relief options ready in Omaha. I think there are. I think Evan Sisk. I think Evan is ready for the call.
All right. I have been hearing that name a lot lately.
I definitely think he's ready for the call. Alec Marsh, barring any injuries from anyone else, when it comes postseason time, he's going to be a relief guy. I think he's going to be a long inning emergency starter type of guy.
Yeah.
So,
but I want him ready for that role.
I do as well. So I saw Stalmont got released. I saw that he cleared through waivers, and I wanted to ask at least. Didn't
Nelson LeMay, I believe they just signed after he got cut.
Yeah.
He had a promising debut for Omaha as well.
That he did. I think he pitched like 5 innings of a really good, solid ball.
The problem is that the 2 relievers you can cut are Will Smith and Chris Stratton. And when it comes to Chris Stratton, he hasn't been bad enough that you want to punt on the fact that you have to pay him next season.
Yeah.
If they didn't have him for next season, because he's got a player option that he's obviously going to take.
For sure.
Because he's not been good enough to not take it. And if you cut him, he would be stupid not to take the money. So he's not been bad enough to cut given those circumstances. And Will Smith offers veteran presence. And I know that stat heads, including me, like to make fun of veteran presence. But Q is also a stat head and seems to think there's something to Will Smith's presence in the bullpen. You're going to cut Will Smith. You better be bringing in somebody elite. Okay? So basically, James MacArthur demotion is the only move you've got right now.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to do. Because again, the other 5 are guys you do want in your bullpen. None of them, and that's the crazy thing. That's, I guess, ranking the bullpen and talking about the bullpen like this, that's why I wanted to do it, is to point out they've got 5 relievers that if you cut them, somebody would have them in their bullpen the next day.
Yep, exactly.
You look at this bullpen, and it hasn't been great this year, but you've got 5 out of 8 guys that you're like, I to keep him. I cannot lose that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
precisely
the forest for the trees. The trees for the forest.
What are you seeing? Will Smith, by the way, in his last 30 games, 1.63 ERA and a 0.98 whip. That is what they signed him to be.
Yeah.
Albeit in
maybe he should be moving into medium leverage.
Maybe I think he's closer than we want to give him credit for. But if we want to remind everyone why he was so bad. He was awful.
And even when he was at the start of that bouncing back, there was a lot of like people hitting the ball and was just kind of getting outs anyway. He is getting some swing and miss lately.
He is. He really is. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Okay, we have definitely gotten off track. So let's take the moment and talk about this Boston Red Sox series. So Red Sox are coming to Kauffman Stadium for a 3-game set, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But I get it; those are weekdays. This is a marquee matchup, folks. This is it. This is the match.
We talked earlier on this season. This is a big series. This is a big series. Everybody says, any series that somebody will say this is a big series. People were saying about the game 4 in Detroit where they were guaranteed a series split. This is a must win. This it. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the season does not necessarily end based on the results of this. But here's what I said to Jacob before we started recording, and here's what I'm going to say to you right now. You listening? Are you listening? Pay attention. This is important. The Royals sweep the Red Sox. They're in. Mm-hmm. They're in the playoffs. It's happening. Okay. Mark it down. The Royals get swept by the Red Sox. It's going to be a tough road to come back from. That's going to be hard to come back from. If the Royals lose the series to the Red Sox, it's not over, but it's a lot harder. If the Royals win the series against the Red Sox, we're in good shape. We're okay. Everything's fine. So this is a must-win series. Much as any series has been all year, this is a must-win series because if they don't at least take 2 out of 3, then the Red Sox have the tiebreaker. And if you let the Red Sox have the tiebreaker, that makes everything that much harder.
Absolutely. This going to be fun. This is going to be really fun.
This should be playoff atmosphere all 3 nights. As far as like both of these teams, you think the teams don't know it? The teams know that this is probably the biggest series they're going to play all year, and they're still got a month and a half left, and they still know this is it. This is what matters, and they're going to play like it. So if you're on the fence about going to these games, you better go. You better show up. It's not going to get any better than this until October.
Mm-hmm. And
unless the Royals sweep the series, the Guardians continue sliding, and the Royals have a shot for the division.
Yep. Because it is, you said it before we started recording. I called into Vern's show, chatted with him on Saturday night. Both of y'all share the same sentiment. We are in believing that the division crown is still very much within reach. I think it's within reach. I'm just setting my bar low and settling in a sense for a wild card spot.
I'm a fan of one thing at a time. Okay. Let's guarantee a postseason berth. Yep. Let's sweep the Red Sox if at all possible. A sweep puts them like 5 games back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the Astros and the Mariners who are fighting each other for the West Crown as the next combatant for the wild card, which means they're busy hammering each other, which makes it real hard to catch the Royals.
Yes, it does.
It's also why Royals might have a shot at the first wild card as the Yankees and Orioles are busy hammering each other. So that's where I'm at is let's one thing at a time. Let's guarantee essentially this playoff spot. Also, that would be 6 off of the magic number if they sweep the series somehow.
Ooh,
that is a big ask. And I'm not demanding they sweep the series, but it's at home. And the Royals have been so good at home. They're at 500 on the road now, aren't they? Are they 2 games under? They're real close.
They're 1 game under.
So good at home. You've got the Red Sox that you fought tooth and nail. Your team is better now than it was then. I don't remember what moves the Red Sox made, if they made any.
Yeah, truthfully, I can't remember. I think they might have made a couple of minor acquisitions.
Yeah. But so this is the Royal series to lose, and they've got to win it. They've absolutely got to win it.
Yes, they do. And I feel very comfortable with the trio that they're sending out to the mound. You got Brady Singer on Monday, Seth Lugo on Tuesday, and Cole Reagans on Wednesday.
Top 3, baby.
Yep.
The top 3. That's what you want to see. That is what you want to see in this series. This is going to either be amazing and fun and the most fun we've had in Kansas City since at least 2017, or it is going to be an absolute disaster, and we're all going to want to say that we were never Royals fans to begin with.
And it's only August.
Playoff race baseball, everybody.
It's only August 4th, baby. I know. We're going. All right, Jeremy. Let's go and get on out of here because we're running a little long. We're rambling a little bit about Royals baseball. That's just because we're passionate about it. If you want some more succinct stuff on the Royals, go check out royalsreview.com. I know Matthew Lamar's. What'd you say?
Don't be a quitter. Why do you want more succinct stuff?
I mean,
this is the good stuff.
Some people do. Some people have time.
This is the good stuff.
It is. I used to listen to podcasts on my commute. Now I have like an 8-minute commute. Okay.
I have a commute. Sometimes I'm a little sad that I don't have a commute because it makes it really hard to listen to podcasts.
It really does. But either way, thank you for listening to us if you still are, because we're going to get to our Royals reviews to talk about some things that are not baseball related. Jeremy, I will, I'll go with my first one. So I'm a cheapskate. Sometimes things get tight in the budget. I got to figure out where to cut what. And one of the things I try to save money on is energy drinks, if I can. They can get expensive.
How I save money on energy drinks?
You don't drink them.
I don't drink them. Real easy.
Not all of us can have the natural vigor of life like you can, Jeremy, okay? Honey says in the background, sometimes you're a cheapskate. All the time you're a cheapskate.
Oh!
I know, right? But anyways, I tried a new brand of energy drink that I can only find at Dollar Tree around here called Big Game Energy. Zero sugar, nothing crazy on the chemicals. It's good. It's solid. If you need a $1.25 energy drink, there's a lot worse ones I've had out there. I don't like the one that I'm having right now. I don't like their sour gummy flavor, but I do like their peach one. They have a great peach flavored
peach is a good drink, a good flavor for drinks.
I know, right? But so go check out Big Game Energy. I don't know where to find them other than Dollar Tree, which probably speaks to the level that they're marketed at. Jeremy, on to you.
So I know you said non-baseball things, but the thing I want to review this week is Apple TV's Friday night broadcast.
Okay, we talk about this often. Let's hear it.
So the Friday night broadcast of the Royals game against the Tigers was absolutely fantastic, y'all. There's a lot of national broadcasts where they come in and they don't know much about the two teams involved, but this team came in and they were ready to talk about Leland getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, not into the Royals Hall of Fame, certainly into the Hall of Fame, and also getting his number retired by the Tigers. They were ready to talk about how good Salvi has been. They were ready to talk about Bobby Witt Jr. And best of all, they had Salvi mic'd up.
Yeah.
And Salvi mic'd up is an absolute treat. They knew exactly what they were doing. They went to exactly the right guy. It was one of the better broadcasts I've watched all year. I got to tell you, I'm a little jaded on the Royals broadcast lately. I feel like Ryan has kind of shifted into a little bit of a self-righteous timer attitude, and maybe he's always had that, but it's really grating on me this year. Still love Rex, so don't get me wrong there. Ike's fine. His chemistry with Rex doesn't work for whatever reason. I do like Jake, but it just doesn't work with Rex. And fair. I mostly watch the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
And he's still got it, as it turns out. I did listen to the radio broadcast for a little bit. He's still great, but he's barely on anymore.
Yeah, I know.
And honestly, I used to love and defend Ryan. I can't hardly stand him anymore. So watching that national broadcast, and they were having a lot of fun. Sideline reporter went and found they were giving away Detroit. It's off for your giveaway for the Jim Leland number retirement with the fake the disguise glasses and the Leland mustache. Oh, it was perfect. And their sideline reporter, beautiful woman, is like, yeah, I'll put that on. I don't care. And was having a great time with it. I'm like, good for you. Way not be like stuck in how you look and just be having a good time. It was just really a tremendous broadcast. I hope that most of you got to watch it. I know you're like, I don't want to pay for an Apple TV subscription. How many times I tell you it's worth it for the other stuff on there? You're not going to do it. But I hope a lot of you did, because it was a really, really good and fun broadcast, and I'm really glad I got to see it.
Did you hear what they called that giveaway?
No, what did they call it?
The Jim Leland Starter Kit.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was great. I love it.
It was awesome. Yeah, it is. We're going into the work week on riding high on the Royals right now. This is gonna be a fun week of baseball, no matter how you slice it. And I do want to say this about Saturday night's game and Sunday's game. If you're just a fan of baseball, these were two great games. I think so.
I think they were two games that showed, man, the Tigers are really bad and the Royals didn't play good. And the Royals should have won both of those games handily because the Tigers were just really bad and the Royals let them stay in it. That's what I saw when I was watching. But I get where you're coming from, too.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you understanding me. All right, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I gotta go help out Honey. If you want to follow along with us on social media, our links are down in the podcast description below. But the best place to follow along with the Royals-related work is over at RoyalsReview.com. A lot of great content coming out over there, so make sure you don't miss out on anything that comes out. Bookmark RoyalsReview.com. Also follow them on social media on Twitter and Facebook at Royals Review. He is Jeremy Greco. I am Jake Milham. Thank you so much for joining us today, and until next time, go Royals!